All right, what's going on, Californians? This is for Californians only and those who visit California. Why would you do that? So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's review. I saw the debate last night. Oh my God. Oh my God. What a mess for the Democrats. Oh my gosh. So you had about 10 people, I think. By the way, these rules were not as bad as you would think with like Kamala or Trump. Nobody's mics got silenced, but there were technical problems with the first 10 to 15 minutes of this shit. The first 10 to 15 minutes was a mess. And she's talking to the audience. There's an audience. You know, unlike presidential debates, there's an actual fucking audience. So that was good. And they didn't really receive well to Steve Hilton. Got seven people. Seven people. There should have been about 10 or 11, including Chad Bianco, including Katie Porter, Swalwell, and Butch Ware. Butch Ware is nowhere. So all these people are talking nonsense. The Democrats are just running their mouth. So here I'm showing you the highlights. This is
California needs an outsider to shake up a system that is obviously not working. I love California, but after 16 years of one-party rule by these Democrats, we've got the highest poverty, the highest unemployment, the highest cost of living in America. It is time for some balance. I was
California families in general. Mr. Hilton, I'd like to start with you.
Before we go on, I really think I need to address the elephant in the room,
Watch.
or perhaps, as some might say, the rhino who's not in the room. My Republican colleague, Chad Bianco, is not here tonight to face these Democrats or his record. In 2020, during the Black Lives Matter riots, he took a knee when told to by BLM. Now he says he was praying. Well, watch the video for yourself.
Yeah, and I covered some of the corrupt shit he did. He and his deputies did. Also, yes, I understand that he had his grandkid into the world, but you still got to be there, okay? You have to be there at that debate. Swalwell, what was Swalwell's excuse? Is he gonna go fuck another Chinese spy? What about Katie Porter? Was she gonna go beat up her husband to death and have to call the police have to be called in? It's ridiculous. So let me show you one more highlight, and then we'll summarize this. Now here they're going to talk about affordable gas.
Out of the state, drivers also pay a 54-cent tax a gallon to cover
how is driving affordable? All this shit.
Regulations to reduce health disparities in communities near refineries. Yet, high gas prices disproportionately burden low-income households. Mr. Hilton, you promised
don't you say Hitler?
Prices. You
don't you say Hitler? I saw that.
To provide relief at the pump?
We have to end the Democrat climate crusade that has led to these astronomical gas prices that are particularly hurting working families who drive their cars and trucks 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day. It's not the climate warriors in Marin County tapping away at their MacBooks that are hurt by high gas prices. It's working class Californians. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop the insane importing of oil and gas from halfway around the world on giant super tankers, spewing out carbon emissions while shutting down oil production right here in California. That makes no sense. We're going to end these environmental regulations on the refineries that are causing them to shut down with zero environmental benefits. That's how we get to $3 gas. That's going to help every single working family and small business in California.
That sounds reasonable.
We'll reduce our costs overall. We've got to get it done.
But watch what Steyer says.
Course to that clean energy future that's affordable for working families.
This man, somehow I'm the governor. Hey, I don't think so.
What is your plan to help?
Watch what happens here.
Of gas prices on these low-income families here in California.
So one of the things that drives me crazy is monopolies and small combinations of businesses that control price.
Yeah.
And in the case of gasoline, we're held hostage by a very small group of companies that can control refineries and push these prices up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are. They have us by the throat.
Yes.
For us to get lower gas prices, we need to find competition.
Right.
We need to import gasoline
either
from neighboring states like Washington, or we need to buy it regardless of what Mr. Hilton says.
Yeah, but he's
from
just
Asia
going up
and
against what
have them
Hilton's
ship-
saying.
Refine it there and ship it to us. But that's
You've
all
got to
the
hear,
short term.
why don't
that's
we
all
use
Steve.
California
Mr. Hilton,
gas?
That's
Let's-
all the short term question.
We'll get to
our
you in a,
own.
we'll get to a
Long
second,
term,
Mr. Hilton. Mrs.
What
Stein,
we
finish.
need to do is to move
Hilton.
to electric
That's
vehicles.
it.
And that is something which is cheaper to fuel, cheaper to maintain, and we need to get them into hands.
That
of
cost him
working
his governorship
families.
there.
And that means cash for clunkers.
No,
It
people
means
aren't. It's
doing
still
whatever
expensive to
we
get
can to
hybrids.
drive
I
down the
hear
upfront
hybrids.
cost of EVs so that in
Oh,
fact
hold on.
that transition happens as fast as possible.
Mr. Hilton, you have 30 seconds to respond.
We'll hear
There's
here's
a
and I'll
very
throw in my
simple
comments at
common
the end.
sense principle. As long as we are using oil and gas in California, let's use California oil and gas instead of importing it from halfway around the world. Did you know that not that long ago, we actually produced most of the oil and gas we use in California right here in state? Now we import 80%. You know our number
Ugh.
one provider? Iraq. We are shipping oil across the ocean, spewing out carbon emissions. It makes no sense. Let's use...
I'll show a few highlights here. Let's take a look, everybody. Oh my God. Which candidate gave the strongest opening remarks? It's not even fucking close. And even Hilton pointed this all out on X, okay? Baccara, 7. Thurman, 3. Hilton, 59, okay? Villaraigosa, 2, because who cares? Mahan, 12. Yee, 4. Steyer, 13%. And then let's go over to the next one. Here we go. Which candidate gives the strongest answer on the affordability of California? So everybody's like Baccara 6, Thurman 3, Hilton at 60%. Okay? Villaraigosa 2, Yee at 4%, Mahan 12, Steyer 13. It's not even fucking close. Hilton 57% on which candidate made the best impression on the first half of the debate. Okay? Look at that. Which one won the debate? Well, let's find out. Let's find out who it was. Spoiler alert, it probably wasn't most of these people.
Welcome back. I'm Claudine Wong at the
75% for Hilton. Everybody else,
check in with them
bad.
in just a bit. We've got our own.
Which candidate had the strongest opening remarks? By the way, this crazy bitch isn't going to go for Steve Hilton. She votes Democrat. Remember I told you all, the 63% for Hilton. Remember I told you all that you vote nonpartisan so you can choose who you want to choose, okay? So you don't necessarily take a side. One of the comments I left was, how did Prop 50 pass? So if Prop 50 passed in favor of Gavin Newsom, in favor of the Democrats, what hope do we have for this year? So I'll give my closing remarks. Now, I want to make it clear, I did see something about Steve Hilton hugging Gavin Newsom in a 2018 or is it 2016 fundraiser. Now, look, I do think that he thought Gavin Newsom was a good guy 10 years ago, but that was 10 years ago. Friends become enemies, enemies become friends. It happens, okay? What I think of that is that people change, people move on. Hell, I was a Trump hater back in 2015, 2016. Now look where I'm at, okay? There was an actual Antifa rioting or peaceful protest, as they say on the TV news, in Italy. I woke up this morning and I saw something on Sky News Australia that there's some Antifa rioting going on in Italy. What the fuck is going on? And some guy in caps typed out, I am so tired of this fucking shit. Yeah, I'm tired of this shit too. I don't want to see that happening in California or anywhere else. Minnesota is going to be a ghost town. So Minnesota is going to become like the UK and Italy in a few months. Just you wait and see, right? And Steve Hilton wants to prevent that. I don't think he has all the ideas laid out, but I think he has most of the most important ones. The man goes everywhere. He goes to every city in California. He covers gas, immigration, schools, paving the roads. He goes over everything. He throws a large tarp over everything. I don't think he has full proof about everything he wants to do as far as how exactly what we do with hybrids and how can we make clean energy affordable. He just wants to make sure that people with gas cars can afford to pay for gasoline. And electricity is a whole other matter. I still hear UFO flying saucer cars out there because people are driving the hybrids. So, in short, Steve Hilton won, but then some assholes were booing him at the end. People were not clapping for him at the beginning. He did get applauses somewhere here and there. You're really applauding Antonio, who fucked us over. You're applauding Steyer and Mahan and some of these other people who are, and Yee. I mean, they're just terrible. These are people saying, "Oh yes, yes, we should definitely not do these bad things." I was reading in Superman. Okay, I was reading how a cop was going to get bribed $10 if he tore up the speeding ticket because Superman was fighting reckless drivers. Okay, I'll talk more about my Superman book later on because I think this is classic literature, just like H.G. Wells, classic literature right here. But in it, the cop rips up the ticket, sees Superman, and it's like, oh, well, try to bribe me, and he punches the driver in the face. That's Jerry Siegel's writing. So that's these politicians, these Democrats, the 6 Democrats that went up against Steve Hilton remind me of that. Okay, they're only going to do good when they're caught on camera. You know, Antonio Villaraigosa is going to pose for the camera. I don't want posers. I want a skater. And back in the 80s in elementary school, you were either a skater, you rode your skateboard, or you were a poser. So are you a skater or a poser? Which one are you? You know, I still have my skateboard and I can still ride around in it. I'm not going to do ollies, but I can do a bit of skating. But I'm not a big skater, but I do a little bit. A little bit counts. But all these people want to do is pose. And Bianco wants to back out. I think they said Bianco was in one debate, but Hilton's been in every one of the 3 debates. So what is everyone doing? You think about that as you go to the polls. And if people feel that Hilton's the right choice, and you can see it in the comments section below of this video here, that if people are for Steve Hilton and we get somebody else, I'm done. I'm done voting in the midterms. I will vote for President Trump only or President whoever, Tulsi Gabbard, but I'm not voting for this shit. I'm not voting for a broken system. And somebody was saying that in a scenario you could have where you walk into a physical voting place where you go vote on voting day and somebody says, oh, you already voted. I will scream bloody murder if that happens to me because of illegal immigrant voting. We'll find out. Stay the course, but do something different and vote for this guy. Vote for Steve Hilton, everyone. That's the answer.